Around 80% of personal goals are abandoned within 2 months, and most of those fail because they were vague or unrealistic, not because people lack willpower. Stick with me for the next minute, and you'll get a simple, no-nonsense way to set one realistic goal this week and actually move it forward. Pick one clear outcome. Example, run a 5K in 3 months or finish one professional course. Give it a deadline. Write the exact measure, time, pages, certificate. List the next 3 concrete actions you can do this week and put them on your calendar right now. Treat the goal like packing a suitcase, not moving house. Small, predictable steps checked off one by one. First, we'll show how to size goals, schedule them, and handle setbacks without guilt. Why most goals quietly fail. Many goals fail because they start as feelings instead of actions. First, want to be healthier sounds noble, but it doesn't tell you what to do tomorrow. Concrete measures matter. A clear behavior to repeat beats vague intentions every time. For instance, saying walk 20 minutes after dinner 3 times a week turns a wish into a testable action. Make success checkable and simple to record, and you'll stop guessing whether you're winning. People also overshoot their everyday bandwidth. Promising daily hour-long workouts before work is a classic planning fallacy. You imagine an ideal week and forget the reality of meetings, kids, and low-energy mornings. Start with a version you can't talk yourself out of. 5 minutes of movement, a single saved dollar transferred right after payday, or 1 paragraph written before email. Small wins add up. Treat big goals like moving furniture through a narrow hallway. Go one piece at a time. Relying on motivation instead of building systems is another quiet killer. Motivation fluctuates, systems don't. Use if-then plans and habit stacking to make actions automatic. If you want to read more, put the book on your pillow every morning and read 1 page after brushing your teeth. If you want to run, place shoes by the door and set a 20-minute timer. That removes the should first decision. Reduce friction, and you'll reduce excuses. Many failures come from one catastrophic night that turns into giving up entirely. People fall into all-or-nothing thinking and treat a missed day as proof they failed. Plan for setbacks. Pick a minimum viable habit, 10 minutes, 1 rep, 1 call, and decide ahead of time what you'll do when life goes sideways. Give someone a small accountability role, a text check-in, or a weekly 5-minute call, because human listeners keep plans honest in a way calendar blocks rarely do. Finally, lack of regular review quietly sinks goals. Without looking back, you keep repeating the same approach that didn't work. Schedule a short weekly check. What went well, what bogged you down, and 1 concrete change for next week. Measure specific behaviors, not vague progress. Adjust targets to match your real schedule and values, instead of forcing unrealistic ideals. Keep it kind and iterative. Goals are tools, not character tests. Difference between dreams and real goals. People often mix up a wish and a plan, and that confusion is why a lot of good intentions never leave the daydream stage. A dream is a mental picture of a preferred future, pleasant, fuzzy, and untethered. A real goal is a concrete, time-frame plan that includes actions, checkpoints, and a way to measure progress. Think of a dream as window shopping and a goal as buying the item and taking it home. Start by naming the outcome you want in clear terms. Replace first want to be healthier with first will be able to run 30 minutes without stopping, or first will add strength training twice a week. Make the result measurable so you know when you've arrived. Next, break that result into the smallest doable steps. Schedule 2 30-minute sessions on your calendar, pick a local route, or book a gym session with a trainer. Short, specific actions beat vague hope every time. Decide on a timeline and milestones. Set a realistic deadline, and then add weekly checkpoints. If the goal is to finish a first draft of a book, commit to a concrete daily or weekly word count. 300 words a day adds up much faster than write when inspired. Use if-then planning for predictable obstacles. If a work meeting runs late, then first do a 20-minute walk instead of the planned run. That shifts the focus from moralizing about failure to collecting useful data about what actually works. Be selective about which dreams become goals. Not every pleasant idea should be a project. Use a quick cost-benefit check. How much time will this take? What would you give up? And how much will it matter a year from now? Pick one or two priorities and let the rest stay as pleasant fantasies or future possibilities. You can return to them later without guilt. Track progress with simple tools and short reviews. Put tasks in your calendar as non-negotiable blocks. Use a basic checklist or habit tracker and do a 10-minute weekly review to adjust. Tell one real person what you plan to do. Accountability beats intention alone. Celebrate small wins. Checking off a milestone is useful feedback, not an excuse to binge on cake. When things go sideways, treat setbacks as information. Missed workouts or delayed chapters are signals to rework the plan, not verdicts on your worth. Tweak session lengths, shift priorities, or change the method. If the energy and resources required consistently outweigh the benefit, reassess and let it go. Practical restraint is as important as enthusiasm. In short, keep the dream for inspiration, but build a goal if you want results. Translate desire into a specific outcome. Schedule the next actions, protect those time blocks, and measure progress. Do that, and your dreams stop being pretty clouds and start acting like maps. How to choose realistic time frames. Realistic time frames are built on what you actually do, not what you hope to do. Measure the present before predicting the future. Begin by doing a short time audit. For 1 week, jot down blocks of real activity, work, family, chores, commute, social time, in 15 or 30-minute chunks. Use a cheap notebook, a phone timer, or the Notes app. No fancy tools required. This gives you a baseline to compare against when estimating how much room you really have for a new goal. Estimate tasks using your baseline. Then add a margin so life can be life. Break the goal into bite-sized tasks. Guess how long each takes based on your audit, and add buffer time. For many people, a modest buffer of 20–30% of helps avoid chronic underestimation. For example, if writing a report takes you 2 focused hours based on past experience, schedule 2.5 to 3 hours to account for interruptions and coffee runs. Think of the buffer like a seatbelt, not pessimism, just practical safety. Use short test sprints to validate your timeline before committing fully. Try a 2 to 4 week trial where you follow your planned schedule exactly and note how often you hit the target. If you aim to practice an instrument for 30 minutes a day, but only managed 3 days a week, adjust the time frame or the daily target rather than forcing perfection. Short sprints give quick feedback and let you recalibrate without wasting months on a plan that doesn't fit your life. Anchor deadlines to external events and reverse engineer from them. Pick the final outcome you want, a completed draft, a 5K run, a basic conversation in another language, and map backwards, assigning realistic chunks to each milestone. If you have a presentation in 6 weeks, block tasks on your calendar. Research, 2 sessions. Draft, 3 sessions. Rehearsal, 2 sessions. Put these on your calendar like meetings. Treat them as real commitments because they will compete with everything else. Account for variability by building contingency windows and no appointment buffers into your schedule. Expect travel, sick days, and surprise family needs. Protect a couple of fallback days per month for tasks that slip. Concrete action. When planning a 3-week milestone, add 2 non-working days into the plan so you still hit the milestone if 1 week goes sideways. This is not laziness. It's realistic planning that keeps you moving forward even when life throws a wrench. Make reviews simple and routine. Spend 10 minutes once a week checking what worked, what didn't, and whether the time frame still feels honest. If you consistently miss your milestones by the same margin, shift the plan or change the approach. Try shorter daily habits instead of longer, less frequent sessions. Keep a short log. What you planned, what happened, why. Clear notes beat vague guilt. Communicate time frames with the people affected and set small, visible wins. Tell a partner, teammate, or friend about your milestones and the expected dates so they can support or push back realistically. Celebrate finishing the first milestone, not with a parade, but with a tiny reward that acknowledges progress. Think of time frames as scaffolding around a building. Adjust the planks as you see how the structure actually stands. Finally, treat your time frame like a GPS that recalculates, not a sacred contract carved in stone. Adjusting isn't failure. It's evidence that you're paying attention. Keep the plan lean, test it quickly, and iterate with simple actions. Time audit, buffer, short sprint, backward planning, weekly review, and communication. Small steps, honest estimates, and a little wiggle room will get you farther than heroic leaps that crash on the first busy week. Breaking goals into tiny next steps. Most people stall on a goal, not because they lack desire, but because the brain needs a clear, next physical action to move forward. Vague intentions like get fit or write a book live in the abstract part of your mind and never trigger actual behavior. Concrete, tiny steps tell your brain exactly what to do next, which turns fuzzy plans into repeatable actions. Start by naming the very next physical thing you will do. Not outline the chapter, but open a blank document and write one bullet about the chapter's main idea. Keep that first action so small you could do it on a crowded lunch break. For example, instead of save money, pick the next step. Move $10 into a savings account using the app now. Break tasks by context and time. Ask yourself, what can first finish while standing in line, or in 10 minutes at home, or with only my phone? If your goal is to run regularly, a useful micro step is place running shoes next to the bed tonight. It's tiny, visible, and lowers the friction for the actual run. If your goal is to learn a language, a 2-minute micro step is open the language app and listen to one lesson. Write down a chain of 3 immediate next steps for each goal. Make step 1 so small it's almost silly, step 2 slightly larger, and step 3 enough to be meaningful. Use names and places. Email Sarah to ask for the draft. Put the file in a work folder on desktop. Spend 15 minutes editing the first paragraph. Concrete details remove guesswork and reduce decision fatigue. Schedule the next step, then protect that slot like an appointment. Put just that one action in your calendar with a specific start time and an estimated duration. When the clock hits, do only that single micro step. If the step takes less time than planned, great. If it expands, consider whether your original step should have been even smaller. Use quick checks to keep momentum without wasting time. At the end of the day, ask one question. What is the one tiny thing first can do tomorrow to move this forward? Keep a running list of only those immediate next steps and toss anything more than 2 actions ahead. Too many items creates a to-do soup. Swap out steps that aren't working. Flexibility beats guilt. When you hit a block, shrink the step further rather than scrapping the whole plan. Humor helps. Treat stalled goals like a lazy plant. Instead of repotting it immediately, try watering the soil near it. That might mean swapping write chapter for open document and copy one useful quote, or prep the gym bag the night before so the activation energy drops. Small wins compound. Completing one tiny step makes the next step easier, and your confidence grows without theatrical pep talks. Keep expectations realistic, forgive imperfect days, and focus on consistent, tiny actions that fit into your real life. Reviewing and adjusting without shame. Regularly checking your progress prevents slow drift and keeps effort from turning into habit-driven busy work. Small course corrections are how projects stay realistic. Treating them as adjustments rather than moral failures makes you more likely to finish things. Think of your goal like a road trip. Traffic happens, and a GPS that quietly reroutes is more useful than a driver who shame scrolls through past directions. Set a simple rhythm that fits your life. Brief weekly check-ins and a slightly deeper monthly look. Block out a short time on your calendar and treat it like a meeting with yourself. Ask a few clear questions each time. What moved forward? What got stuck? What change will first try next? Write 1-sentence answers. That tiny habit turns vague worry into useful information you can act on. When things go sideways, label the event as data, not a verdict. If a training plan derails because of an illness, note the reason and change the plan to match current capacity, lower intensity, or different exercises, instead of scrapping the whole goal. If a work project takes longer than expected because of added approvals, adjust the timeline or reduce scope. Same goal, different route. One concrete move is to change only one variable at a time, so you know what helped. Tweak the deadline, but keep the task the same, or keep the deadline and shrink the task. Say exactly what you're changing and why, out loud or in a quick message to others who are affected. A short script works. First, I'm shifting this deliverable from a weekly to a bi-weekly cadence because the approval steps added time. First, I'll share progress notes each check-in. That eliminates mystery, reduces pressure, and makes accountability constructive. If you're working solo, send the same update to your future self by journaling it. The clarity helps you stick to practical adjustments. Make adjustments small and testable so you can learn fast. Swap one habit for another instead of overhauling everything. Try a shorter daily writing target, or move a marketing task from mornings to afternoons for 1 week and observe. Track the outcome in the simplest way possible, a one-line log, a checkbox, or a calendar note. After the test period, decide whether to keep the change, tweak it again, or revert. This experimental mindset cuts down shame because the goal becomes learning, not a pass/fail exam. If shame still shows up, use a quick grounding trick. Pause, name the feeling, and write one factual sentence about what happened. Then list one small, achievable next step. Humor helps. Imagine your goals wearing a sensible raincoat instead of expecting sunshine all the time. Be realistic, be kind, and remember that adjusting is evidence of engagement, not proof of weakness. Quick recap. Pick one clear, specific goal. Make it measurable. Break it into tiny first steps. Schedule those steps in your calendar. Track progress weekly. And adjust when life gets messy. Think of goals like a staircase you climb one step at a time, not a trampoline you jump on hoping to land at the top. A couple of quick examples to make it real. If your goal is to run a 5K in 8 weeks, your first step could be a 10-minute jog 3 times this week. If you want to read more, commit to 15 minutes before bed for 7 nights. Those are small, concrete actions you can actually fit into a busy life. Do this now. Write down one goal in one sentence. Note what success looks like. Pick the very first physical action and put in your calendar for this week, even if it's just 10 minutes. Set a weekly 10-minute reminder to review and tweak the plan. If this helped, tap like and subscribe so you don't miss simple, practical tips. Drop one goal in the comments. First, we'll read them. Next video, we'll walk through a 5-minute weekly review and give you a ready-made checklist to keep momentum without wasting time. You've got this. Steady steps beat motivation every time.